Welcome to All About Albemarle, the segment where we talk about the things that matter to the people who live, work, and play in the city of Albemarle. I'm David Fath, the Communications Director for the city, and joining me today is our Assistant City Manager, Darren Rhodes. Darren, good to have you back with us.
Good to be back.
Yeah, something we like to do on All About Albemarle is go behind the scenes and explain how local government does the work that it does. And in Albemarle, for us, that is the award-winning strategic plan that guides our work. For anyone who's unfamiliar or may have forgotten about the strategic plan, what is the strategic plan?
Sure. The strategic plan is really a roadmap. It's designed by the staff and by the city council, and most importantly, by the citizens. And it really kind of focuses and prioritizes what the work that we do at the city to carry out the goals and the wishes of our citizens.
If you could sort of describe the strategic plan's benefits, give me 3 bullet points.
Sure. It comes down to accountability, articulation, and alignment. Accountability is making sure that we prioritize what the work that we're doing, and it's consistent with what the city council wants, what the citizens want, and what our staff can feasibly carry out year to year.
Let's talk about the strategic plan in action. There are 5 specific goal areas: organizational capacity, safety and security, infrastructure, community and economic growth, and inclusive community engagement. And each of those goals has a set of tactics. And a tactic is just a specific piece of work that the city staff is going to do to meet the goal. So, for example, with the goal of improving infrastructure, one of the tactics or work plans for this year was to replace power lines on the electric system to increase the system's reliability. What are some of the other tactics or work items that the staff is doing right now?
Sure. There's over 80 tactics this year that we're working on currently. Some of the examples of those tactics are we're developing a 5-year staffing plan to make sure that we can keep up with the growth that's occurring and make sure that we continue to provide a high level of services to our citizens. Increasing funding for street preservation and maintenance. You mentioned a survey earlier. That survey revealed that the number one item on citizens' minds was making sure that streets were maintained and improved. Developing a new comprehensive land use plan, again, making sure that we are managing growth in a way that is feasible and that allows our services to keep up with that growth. Installing new ball field lights, a real practical project. Don Montgomery Park and Rock Creek Parks both have ball fields that are used quite a bit in the spring and the summer, and the lights really needed to be upgraded. Expanding marketing for the Albemarle Business Center, and then making sure public safety is always a real important item on those surveys and with our city council, making sure that our fire department and our police department's policies are up to date. And then finally, completing a Parks and Recreation comprehensive plan.
Yeah, lots of tactics. And as you mentioned, we've got more than 80 that are in progress at this point. And I think it's interesting you get a good balance of things these are not just everyday items. You know, someone might hear replacing ball field lights. That's not as simple as going up on a ladder and changing the light bulbs there. That's a major project.
Yes.
We're talking big drilling into the ground, getting these new lights in place.
Yes.
And it's going to be, I'm really looking forward to that one, seeing the Wampus Cats play under the lights.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, come spring and summer here.
Yep.
So I know city staff and elected leaders are already starting to work on the tactics for next year, or that work plan for the next year. How does that process work?
Sure. So just recently, within the last couple of weeks, city staff and council met for a workshop or work session to begin to talk about what those tactics are, what those projects are going to be for the upcoming year. Staff will take that information and develop tactics at their retreat coming up in a few weeks. And then we will bring those back to council to develop the budget, to develop ways to feasibly fund those tactics. And that's really ultimately what makes a strategic plan successful, is making sure that those tactics that do require budget or funding are funded. The ones that are not funded, they don't make it into the strategic plan.
Yeah, and they could be set aside for next year.
That's
could
right.
Be something that's brought back. Mm-hmm. Something before we began the segment we were talking about was that having a strategic plan on its own is a unique thing for city. You might think, you might just assume everybody's going to have a strategic plan, but that's not always the case.
That's right. There's a lot of cities our size that don't have a strategic plan or may have one, but they don't use it. It just kind of goes on the shelf. And so that is, again, what keeps us focused, keeps us working as a team, keeps us aligned with what the citizens and the elected officials want.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Darren, we really appreciate you providing an update on the strategic plan. We'll continue to bring those as the plan progresses throughout the rest of the year. And don't forget, you can look at the strategic plan on the City of Albemarle's website. Just go to albemarlenc.gov/strategic plan. You'll see our work history from the last 3 years of work on the strategic plan, and you'll see what we're working on this year. For Darren Rhodes, I'm David Fath. Thanks for listening to All About Albemarle.